My name is Philip Kedge and I am the Director of the McKenzie Friend UK network. I am a retired police chief inspector and I've been a McKenzie Friend since 2012, and in all my blogs my views and opinions are entirely my own. This is a blog that I've been intending to do for a short while, and it's been a reason why a lot of people have been contacting me over the last week. And it's the issue of people moving back into the marital home or the previous address which they've got a legal interest in, moving back in with their ex-partners or spouses because of the situation with the COVID-19. And I'm not stereotyping here, but I've been speaking to women who are in the matrimonial house or the main residence and the man has come back in, and also to men who have phoned me up because they have no option, or they say they have no option but to move back in. But that's usually what it is, it's the man moving back into the residential home. Now, obviously that has potential to cause significant conflict, and there could be justifiable reasons why someone actually does need to move back into the property. What people have been telling me is that they've lost their jobs, or they don't have income coming in, they can't pay the rent from the place they're living in, or that they've been staying in a bed and breakfast or a hotel and that's been closed down. On the other hand, I've had women say to me that during the course of the relationship they've been subjected to emotional or even physical abuse, and as far as they're concerned, an abuser is coming back to live in their house, but they haven't reported it before. It's happened during a relationship and now they are in fear of their safety. So many important and serious issues going on in relation to this. So what are your options? Well, if someone has a legal interest to return to a property, then they are allowed to gain access and they're allowed to stay there. Now, from a legal perspective, in terms of preventing a person from doing that, there are kind of two routes, but you have to justify them. And the first one potentially is a non-molestation order, but even then that may not prevent a person from living in a house. It may actually turn around and say that whilst they're living with you, they have to behave and not engage in threats or use of violence or to harass, intimidate or pester. So there just could be conditions put on in terms of the behaviour of people whilst they still remain in the house. Then of course you get the occupation order, which is seen as quite a draconian order and certainly not easy to obtain, but can be issued if you feel there's a likelihood of threats or violence and very serious and significant instances. But again, that is not easy and doesn't necessarily mean that a person will be forced out of their residence. An occupation order, if residence is big enough, could actually split the residence to say a person can live in these rooms and the other person has to live in other rooms. But for most people, we don't have the luxury of that space. Of course, there's a third option, which I have discussed with people, is to say, well, if you believe that you are in fear of harm, then why don't you yourself move out of the house and do you have someone else or somewhere else to go and stay? Do you have a fallback plan? Do you have somewhere safe to go? And invariably, the response to that is that they don't, or even if they have, they say that they don't want to, and they certainly wouldn't be leaving the children in the resident property anyway. This is clearly something that has no easy solutions, and I know that over the last week the government has tried to address the issue of domestic violence, generally within houses when people are confined together, particularly when there might be increased drinking or indeed drug and substance misuse. And what they've done is just give warnings. There was some talk about whether the government should give additional money to refuges or hotels where people can escape to, but that seems to have gone quiet over the last couple of days, which of course is a concern and a shame. There needs to be some consideration for provisions for people who are in these situations, are likely victims of domestic violence and abuse and actually need to escape somewhere. And I hope that comes back on the agenda very shortly. So if you'd like to talk about any aspect of your case, or if you're having difficulties, then please feel free to pick up the phone and I'll be happy to offer you a 1 hour free consultation.